Both sportsbooks and NBA analysts are disrespecting the Knicks right now, and also nobody is realizing how well Julius Randle has been playing, and we need to talk about all of this. So welcome back to Knicks Digest, guys. My name is Chris, and we are going to jump right into things as we always do, because the New York Knicks are getting disrespected right now by the media, by sportsbooks, and just by the entire world. And if you look right there, it just said the New York Knicks are the 5th seed at 10-7. So I don't really know why they're getting disrespected like this. But here's essentially what I'm talking about. If you guys watched the game last night, you would know that the New York Knicks beat the Charlotte Hornets 115-91. It was a 24-point win, which was good enough to get them to the the quarterfinals of the NBA in-season tournament. As you could tell, I still am not the biggest fan of the NBA in-season tournament, so I don't have all of the details down. But essentially, between the point differential and the way that the games went last night, the New York Knicks will now go up against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Cup's Eastern Conference matchups, while the 2-seed Indiana Pacers play the 3-seed Celtics. Again, these are not the NBA standings. These are the NBA Cup standings, depending on the groupings. Why they didn't just use, the divisions is completely ridiculous to me. I think that would have made way more sense travel-wise and just in every sense of the word, because I don't know who's in the Knicks group outside of the Heat and the Bucks, because those teams are good. I don't know the bad teams in the group. I guess the Hornets were in it because the Knicks have played them 5 billion times. But I really, I couldn't tell you. In all honesty, I could not tell you who that 5th team is. I have no idea. I just don't remember it at all. It is what it is. Doesn't really matter. Essentially, here's the problem with this, guys. If you look at the NBA Cup championship odds for both the Eastern and the Western Conference of the top 8 teams left, 4 in the East, 4 in the West, you would see that the New York Knicks have the worst odds at 14-1. Now, teams like the New Orleans Pelicans, Indiana Pacers, and Sacramento Kings are in front of the New York Knicks, despite the fact that the Knicks went farther than all of them in the playoffs last year, and the Knicks are a 5th seed right now. And that is important to note, considering where everyone else stands, such as the Indiana Pacers, who are the 6th seed behind the Knicks. And then if you look at a team like the New Orleans Pelicans, they're at 500 right now, and the 9th seed in the Western Conference. So I really don't understand it. I guess I could sort of reason with the Sacramento Kings because they have a better record than the Knicks, but also I cannot because, they just didn't go as far in the playoffs last year. And then, if you look here, once again, these are the matchups. So I think that's probably some of it is that the Knicks are playing the Milwaukee Bucks. But really, guys, it's just one of those things that is super difficult to see. And I don't understand why. I don't get what's with the Knicks disrespect, especially when it comes to odds, because they're not going to Knicks for clicks for disrespect purposes. Maybe they're trying to just manipulate people into betting on that Knicks team because they're like, okay, if they can get through the Milwaukee Bucks, they can get through everyone else. And a team like the Pacers doesn't necessarily have the same amount of talent as the Knicks. And the New Orleans Pelicans don't necessarily seem as good as the New York Knicks. But really, I don't understand it, guys. Because especially, that's not all of the disrespect that's happening to the New York Knicks. Because if we look right here, the Knicks are 14th in the power rankings that came out today, Wednesday, November 29th, the day that this video is coming out. And I truly do not understand why. Because as Tim Bontemps puts it here, thanks to a blowout win over the Hornets, the Knicks get themselves in the wild card of the Eastern Conference's half of the in-season tournament. Ensured they'll play the Bucks 5 times this season, 3 times in December, 2 of those times being December 23rd and Christmas, both of those games in New York, which is important to note. But the Knicks coach, Tom Thibodeau, will be happy to know that his team picked up 8 wins in the past 11 games, climbing to 11th in offense and 6th in defense. All of that is good stuff, so why are the Knicks 14th? They're the 5th seed in the East, guys. I don't get it. That just seems weird. Like, if any other team was 8-3 in their last 11 games, unless they were really bad, like really bad to start the season, like Pistons bad to start the season, they would probably be in the top 10 of the power rankings, which is going off of your recent games. So I do not understand that, especially if we look here, thank you to Knicks Muse, who basically put it this way. The Knicks have the 6th best net rating in the NBA, along with the 6th best defense and the 11th best record in the NBA. They are 8-3 in their last 11 games, and ESPN put them at 14th in their NBA power rankings. It's just one of those things that makes no sense. Like, it's just like, imagine the Golden State Warriors, who have a losing record right now, were to go 8-3 in their next 11 games. they would be around 7th or 6th or 5th in the power rankings. Because that's just how it goes. I don't see the point in making the Knicks low unless it's just a complete Knicks for clicks thing. I'm not about to go out and hate on Tim Bontemps. I actually like hearing what he has to say, like, almost all the time, which is just rare with anyone. I assume most of you guys disagree with me around half the time, and that's just how it is. But essentially, I think if it's not Knicks for clicks, Tim Bontemps is just straight up wrong. This is the same guy that a day or two ago when we released that other trade video where they basically said, hey, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, they're not the guy. They can't be the best player on a championship team. And then Tim McMahon said, hey, yeah, I agree. I think that they'll be the next team to trade for a star. Make sure to check out that video if you have not. But essentially, Bontemps doesn't believe in these guys and said that Jalen Brunson's not on the level of Jimmy Butler or Devin Booker. Now, yes, he's not on the level of Devin Booker specifically. Devin Booker is very good. He probably is the best shooting guard in the NBA. It's between him and Anthony Edwards, if you ask me. What I don't understand is Jalen Brunson outplayed Jimmy Butler in that series, and I get in the Heat-Knicks series, that is. And obviously I get it. Jimmy Butler hurt his ankle, and that is a reason to play worse. The Knicks didn't necessarily lose to Jimmy Butler. They lost to the entire Heat team and Eric Spoelstra. So I don't understand why he would specifically choose Jimmy Butler, because the Knicks almost beat them anyway. And Jalen Brunson averaged 30 points per game in that series, not to mention the 27 points per game that he averaged throughout the playoffs. He probably had the 3rd or 4th best playoff performance of everyone in the NBA playoffs in general last season. So I just don't understand what's with that and saying the Knicks need a closer because Jalen Brunson's incredibly good at that. I don't understand this disrespect, guys. It's happened consistently. Some of it's Knicks for clicks, but other parts of it is just really confusing, such as the odds thing. And I think a lot of that is based off, yeah, they're playing the Milwaukee Bucks in a single-game elimination. You got Damian Lillard, who's as clutch as anyone ever. If you check the numbers or just look at him play, you know that that's true. And then you got Giannis Antetokounmpo, who has a genuine claim to being the best player in the NBA. I think it's hard to argue that Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic in some order are not the 3 best players in the NBA today. I would put Jokic as number 1 and Giannis at 2 and then Embiid at 3. But we all have our own lists, and they all are very, very close. But yeah, that's where I would say comes the odds point. But now let's jump into a little bit of a more fun topic that no one's really talking about. And that is that Julius Randle has been balling out in recent games, and no one seems to notice it. And now is the time to post it, because as I said, today is Wednesday, November 29th, and that means that Julius Randle is it's not only his birthday, but it is his golden birthday. Julius Randle has just turned 29 years old today. Happy birthday, Julius Randle. Let's take a look at his numbers throughout his New York Knicks tenure before we jump into this. Something to note is he's kind of had that back and forth thing that people have talked about where it's like, oh, he's inefficient one year and averages around 20 points per game. The next year he puts up 24, 25 points per game on better efficiency. Then he goes back. Then he goes back to playing well. And then he goes back to playing inefficiently again. And it looks, if you just look at the stats here, like that is absolutely true. And that's what's happening once again with Julius Randle. But I just don't believe that to be the case at all. I think it was ankle related with the way that Julius has been playing recently. He has been better. And it's something to note that essentially when Julius had that year, the COVID year, when he played really well and shot really well, the next season the Knicks played Alec Burks at point guard. Alec Burks is a tremendous player, but something he is not is a point guard. He is a wing. He's a small forward shooting guard. Whatever you want to put him at, he works there. He's a good wing, but he's not a point guard. And Tibbs tried to make him a playmaker, and that was not helpful. Julius Randle plays well if he has a point guard who he knows and trusts. He knew and trusted Elfrid Payton despite all of our Knicks fan problems with Elfrid Payton, no matter who you are. I think we all have problems with that guy. No, nothing personal, just the way he played basketball. And we saw that by the fact that he's not really in the NBA anymore. And then he got Jalen Brunson, who he knew and who he trusted and who he played well with and has continually played well except for this injury span. But now his numbers are looking up. Things are looking better for Julius, and that's awesome to see because the Knicks need Julius Randle to play well. No matter how you want to put it, Julius Randle is going to go down as one of the best Knicks of all time. He's made the All-Star game twice. He's made the All-NBA team twice. He's led the Knicks, or well, helped lead the Knicks to a second-round playoff appearance for the first time in 10 years. He has really been one of the keys to sort of changing the way that the New York Knicks are, and he gets an absurd amount of hate. So let's just take a quick look here. in his last 11 games, Julius Randle has been averaging 23.4 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. And that's super exciting, especially when you notice that looks a lot like the numbers in 2021 and 2023 in his odd number years. So that's super exciting, and hopefully that means he is getting back to form. Once again, here are the numbers. They look remarkably similar. So that's a good sign. I'm really happy for Julius. I hope he keeps playing well. And we have just a little more stuff to look at. If you want to just go through his games a little closer and in depth, we can see that the three-point percentage is not where it needs to be over this 11-game span. He's only shooting 30% from three. He's shooting around 45% from the field, which is the Julius Randle special, no matter where you look. But, you know, if you look at his games, he's had multiple games where he's had the highest plus-minus on the Knicks, such as that 31 point or the plus 31 and the plus 27 against the Hornets. And he's just been playing well, like 21 points, 14 rebounds. Yeah, that guy's not always going to hit a bunch of threes, but that's fine. He shouldn't be shooting 6 threes if he's shooting 16 shots, though. I think that is a caveat. And then he just put up 25, 20, and 5 with 2 steals. And people are going to find a way to be upset with that, and I think that's one of those things where it just is what it is. I know people do not like Julius Randle. It's just, he's not everyone's favorite Knick. He's some people's least favorite Knick. However, it's hard to argue with what the man has been able to do. There's only been a few other guys in, I don't even want to say recent, just in history who've been multiple-time All-Stars with the Knicks. You have Patrick Ewing, who did it 11 times. You have Carmelo Anthony, who did it 6 times. Michael Ray Richardson did it 3 times. Julius Randle, below that, he's done it 2 times. Look, guys, I understand that there's problems with Julius Randle, and I, like most people, think that he does not fit with this team. I don't think he's a good fit with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett, who work well together. I think the Knicks would be better off with more of a perimeter power forward, especially with the way that Mitchell Robinson plays. But it's hard to argue that he's not a great player and that he hasn't done good things for the Knicks. And I think a lot of times people forget that. And they really come down on him hard. And I think it is what it is. You're just going to get people who are going to make their decision after they see you play for a year. And even if you start to play better, they're not really going to prey on your downfall, but they're going to be ready to pounce if you don't play well. And if you do play well, they're not exactly going to give you the most credit in the world. They're more just going to say, keep doing that. Show me what you can do. Keep doing that. You played bad 5 years ago, and I have a problem with it, so keep going, or whatever. I don't know. I don't have the energy to hate a New York Knick like some fans do, and if you do hate Julius Randle, I'm not going to tell you how to be a Knicks fan. I understand that you do love the Knicks, no matter who you are, and that you think he's bad for the team or whatever. I just, personally, I'll be pretty candid. I think you're just wrong. But that's the great thing about sports, is that we all have our own opinions. And just to wrap this up, Julius Randle playing better, it really does, it shows a good sign, because if Julius were to play badly, if he were to play like he was playing when his ankle was clearly bothering him, that would severely hinder the Knicks. He just demands too many touches and has too high of a usage and means too much to this team, especially to Tom Thibodeau, to where it would be really hard for the Knicks to succeed, especially because he's really their only forward in general. He's their only power forward for sure, but he's one of their only pure forwards. So they need Randle to be at his best for the Knicks to be most successful. Hopefully that shooting goes up. I think that's very important. I think it should be in lower volume. And as I've said, I think Randle should definitely be more of a point forward. I think that would fit him better. I think it would fit the Knicks better. I think it would just work out for the best. However, I'm rooting for Randle, and I'm rooting for the whole New York Knicks team. So if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, because that means a ton to me. Can't even stress it. It means the absolute world. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We are going to be back on that grind. We're going to try to get 2 videos out per day, whether it's a game day where it's 1 video and then a post game, or a day off. We're just going to try to get you your New York Knicks content, get you 2 videos a day, give you some stuff to look at while you're either working or doing whatever the hell you're doing while you watch Knicks videos, if you're eating, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Make sure to tune in to Knicks Digest and all Digest media channels, and I will see you on the next time. So, guys, have a tremendous day, and go New York Knicks.